Today we are assembling a Ford 9-inch. It's going to be 31 splines with a Power-Trax locker. This is actually a true locker. No clutches, no limited slip, no pause traction. Also, we're using the Daytona pinion support. Here at National, we paint them blue for our customers. We have a motor gear, nodular, third member, and we're using the Richmond Excel gears. It's going to be 456 ratio, start to finish, pressing in the bearings, pressing in the races, everything you need to do to set it up. Once you're done pressing the races in, you want to make sure they're fully seated. You can put your fingernail back there and run around it, or if you want to do a 90-degree pick, you just want to make sure those races are seated, otherwise they'll give you a false pinion depth. Okay, now we're going to assemble the pinion. What I like to do is make sure my bearings have some lube on it. This is just straight gear oil, both here and on the outer bearing. It just helps it when first starts up and you're going through your break-in period. Also, right here between the two bearings, a lot of times they have a crush sleeve. This one's going to be a solid spacer that will do the same thing. So you'll be able to get your bearing preloads, but it will stop and you can take the yoke off, reassemble the yoke. We ship these without yokes, so customers use their own yokes. With this pinion support, we set the thickness of our preload at 0.490. And we've got pretty good luck on the bearing preload. That goes in first, wide side down. Also, you can take lube where the bearing goes, where your yoke goes. And because the customer is going to install their own yoke, so I don't create any damage to the threads, I also like to lube that. But as you can see, we're not down. This bearing has an interference clearance. So, quick tap, seats the bearing better, and you can install the pinion nut. Check preload later and see where we're at. As you know, and probably understand, these main caps are line bored, which means machine comes in, bores them out. Right cap has to stay a right cap, left cap has to stay a left cap. What I do, take your punch, give it one punch. Second cap, can't do one, so you do two punch. Again, direction the cap goes and what side the cap goes on. Ford 9-inch also has lock keys. They don't hold tension, they just kind of hold this in place. You got to take these out, careful not to lose them. So I usually turn them upright, snug them down, and the opposite side. Now we're going to install the pinion support. I have a 12,000 shim here. Again, we do so much of this ratio in these third members that this is usually my starting point. And then I'll adjust based on the pattern. Notice right here, it's a little bit different. They have one pattern on this. So you always line up the bulge here to the bulge here, and it'll line up every time. If you try to move the pattern around, the bolt holes won't line up. These are 3/8 by 1 1/4 inches. We use a little bit longer than stock just for a little bit better bite, and I haven't had any problems. Over this way, and you can see it becomes more of a cradle. They also offer ones that hang over the bench where you can flip it over back and forth. I like those, but I think I like this method better. Everything's in front of me, not an issue. I can look at it, I can change it, I can flip it fast at any time. Now we're going to install the carrier. A little lube on the bearings. You can sit this thing right over. Usually what I try to do is see if I have some kind of backlash to it. Now the carrier's flipped upside down. Our caps didn't come out right, so we got to match up the bolts. This will go over here. We got our one punch. I always stick the spanners in first, make sure they're even. Caps. Way to know the spanners are even. The cap will sit flush, and you screw the bolts in. You don't want to go too tight right now because you have to adjust the spanners. We have too much backlash. We have no preload, anything like that. Okay, some of you may have this, some may not. You may have a spanner tool that opens up like this, and you hit this. Luckily, we have this one. This will fit the 2.89 bearings and the 3.06 and the 325s. So right now we know too much backlash. So I'm going to come in here. Once I make contact, then I keep checking. As you can see, it's dropping to almost none. So we go back on the other side. I think we're going to be a little tight, but we're going to check. Okay, right now I'm at 5 thousandths, a little bit too tight. Back off this side. Tighten up this side a little bit. I am right at 8 thousandths, so that's where we're going to lock it down. This is where we run the pattern. As you can see, when they lap the gears, they've also ran a pattern in there for the drive, pattern for the coast. So you don't want to cover this up, you want to shoot for that. That's what the optimal performance on this gear is. So I usually take a couple teeth with your marking compound, and you don't have to go across the whole gear. You just need a couple teeth to check the pattern. We're going to rotate this through. All right, so my depth is good. I'm going to make a small change to backlash, a little too tight. You can see by the factory pattern, they want the backlash a little bit tighter. So we're just going to tighten that thing up. Going to stay.